brand new episode of VollThrottle. I am Extra, your host, and we are here with our good friend Thomas from Aachen. How are you, Thomas?
Hi, I'm perfect. How are you?
Oh, I'm perfect too. How did you know?
It was just a hunch.
We are here today to recap episode 4 of Drag Race Germany Season 1. Last week was pretty controversial, and this week was no exception. We will get to that later. Yeah, is your head still spinning from the lip sync last week?
Yeah, but not in a good way.
We can get ready for more confusion this episode. But before we dive too deep in, I do want to give a short disclaimer and say not to send any negativity or any hate to any of the queens we're talking about in this video. This was a real issue last week. As we said, it was a controversial lip sync outcome, and both Barbie Breakout, the host, and the only Naomi, who went home last week, both posted videos on their Instagram just stressing how important it is not to send hate to Tessa just because she won the lip sync. I mean, A, it was not Tessa's fault that she won the lip sync, and B, this is all stuff that happened months ago that we as viewers were not a part of. Barbie really emphasized in her video that we weren't there. You know, we are seeing an edited version of this months after the fact, and that is going to be different than what they experienced in the room. And although we may not agree, we have to trust that these decisions are being made for a reason, and it's a TV show. So we can watch, we can disagree, we can agree, but we shouldn't let that affect the queens themselves, because we should be lifting them up and celebrating them for having this moment to shine on TV, and that's what's important. So this week, when Barbie and Gianni enter the workroom, I mean, by the way, these two are just the cutest.
They're so adorable.
Like, this isn't a onesie, but I'm not mad at all, because this look to me is very Berlin, very like glam but gritty, this nice dark black palette, and Gianni just the total opposite. And I absolutely love this like blanket kind of grandma looking coat he's got on. I want that.
Like the kilted coat is amazing.
It's
and
so
I love
cute.
Barbie's makeup.
Well, and them together, I mean, they just make such a good complementing pair.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, as soon as Barbie points out Gianni's glasses, we know that the library is going to be open. I was a little nervous because a lot of the reading challenges over the last few seasons that I've watched of the different franchises have really been pretty lackluster. And, you know, with some old school queens on this cast, I was really hoping that they would pull through, and that they did.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, my favorite read, hands down, was this read by Kelly Hilton to Nikita Vegas, and I think this deserves a little bit of explanation language-wise. You can see here on the subtitles it says "Nie Schule, nie Ausbildung." Obviously, "nie Kita" was the first part of that joke, and "nie" means never, and Kita. What is Kita, like a childcare, like kind of a kindergarten?
Yeah, childcare, preschool, something like this. So
right. So yeah,
it was just a brilliant joke.
Nie Schule, which means no school, and Nie Ausbildung, yeah, like no education of any kind. Yeah. Basically calling her a dumb bitch, and it brought down the house.
But also Nikita was like, I'm taking this. This is my brand now, which also was so funny to me. Like, I mean, it should be. It's a really smart joke. So,
you know, Nikita was pretty funny too, but also she was a great punching bag, because I mean, Kelly's best joke was directed at her. I can't remember who, but somebody said that she looked like Uncle Fester fucked a tennis ball, which with the yellow hair is hilarious. Yeah. Which she also agreed to when she figured out who Uncle Fester was. So yeah, no surprises that Kelly takes the win here. Did you have any other favorite jokes?
Most of them I thought were actually quite funny, but the Nikita one just took the cake.
Yeah. Okay, so I think it was Lorelai's read to Tessa, and it was something about Rauhfaser.
Oh yeah! Oh my god!
Could you explain that? Because I had a lot of trouble.
Do you know what Rauhfaser Tapete is?
I thought that it was like a certain wallpaper texture.
Yes.
Is it pretty like ubiquitous in Germany?
It's very German. It's this wallpaper that has like little wooden chips built into the wallpaper, basically.
Right.
So like Rau means like rough, or coarse, but it doesn't feel unpleasant when you like go over it. Yeah, it's just a very German thing to do. So like, that was a very clever joke, I feel like.
So this week, our esteemed judges panel, starting with the legend, the icon, Barbie Breakout. This week, in a lovely deep purple dress. As I've said before, I'm just a sucker for anything this color. This is definitely a style that looks good on her. She's definitely worn this kind of silhouette and kind of with the legs slit a couple of times now, but I don't mind because she looks great. She's got these huge ringlets in the blonde wig and the makeup on point. She's just dazzling.
She's amazing as always, gorgeous. I love the leg slit. I love the makeup. I love the wig. Everything about her is perfect.
The total package.
Period.
And Mr. Sunshine Gianni, always at her right-hand side.
He's so gorgeous. And
with
he's
that
always
smile.
so cute. Like the pink suit, perfect.
Well, he's always got like a really vibrant color on and a smile to match. And yeah, speaking of lighting up the judges panel, Diane was also just literal sunshine.
I love her.
With a
She
feather
makes me
boa.
so happy. I can't even like I don't even know why. Just looking at her, like.
Well, and of course I had to choose between this screenshot or the one of her talking to Herbert. It was a tough choice.
Yeah, I love her.
And our extra special guest judge, Dennis V. I was not familiar with him before this, but they've really had high quality guest judges this season that seem really invested and excited to be there.
I felt like his critiques were really good. I really liked the way, like, I really enjoyed his input. When they introduced him, though, she was just like, and our very special guest judge, Dennis V. And I was like, okay, so they just picked up a gay guy from, like, Cologne's bars or whatever? Like, but, like, who is this? They didn't even explain who he is. He looks just like okay. Dennis V, like, it's like I would introduce someone as, like, Jacob M. Who are you?
Yeah, what they do, at least.
No, I mean, apparently he's like a choreographer, I think.
So this week, the Maxi Challenge was to split up into teams and to create advertisements selling unusual products. Branding challenges are definitely Drag Race canon and different from the challenges we've had so far on this season. So I knew there would be some surprises in store. And on the runway, speaking of surprises, the theme that I never anticipated, Night of 1,000 Merkels.
I really was so happy.
I was gagged. For those who aren't familiar, Angela Merkel was the first female chancellor of Germany, and she was chancellor from, I think, 2005 to 2021. So for 16 years, she was, and she was also referred to commonly as the most powerful woman in the world. And so she was very successful. Mutti Merkel. Yeah, she was kind of a mother figure for really all of Europe, it seems like. And I know that she wasn't always a big champion for LGBT rights. I mean, she was a member of one of the more conservative parties. But Thomas, I was curious to ask you what the general attitude towards her is in Germany, especially in the queer community.
I think that while, like you already mentioned, and they already like talk about it in the episode, but she is pretty conservative, and she for example, when they voted for marriage equality here in Germany, she actually voted against it. But I think that like almost everyone still has like a very kind of deep-rooted respect for her, because she did like also get us through tougher times, the beginning of like COVID and stuff.
Right. And she is also a smart cookie. I mean, she has a doctorate in quantum chemistry. Yeah, she got a doctorate in quantum chemistry in like 1986. So she's got a solid head on her shoulders. It is disappointing.
I mean, also, like Pandora also mentions in the episode, she like kind of works in a field that's very like male dominated, and she's been doing a great job in it. One of the best jobs that we've had so far. So yeah. I think while I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I feel like that's kind of like where a lot of queer people like lie with her, is that like we don't really necessarily agree with like her politics or like her mindset, but we do still respect her for what she's done and like for the work that she's done.
And Lorelai says in this episode that drag is always political. And that is really important because especially these days, and especially in some parts of America, just getting into drag, the very act of putting drag on is a rebellious and almost dangerous act because it is persecuted so harshly. And it was interesting to watch the episode because I feel like the edit gave a very neutral attitude towards her. And I knew that she was probably a little bit divisive, and so I wondered whether the tone of the episode would be more mocking and satire or more grounded in respect. And I think they did a nice job of playing both sides of that within reason. Yeah. It wasn't disrespectful, but it wasn't like reverent of her. They acknowledged the imperfections while giving credit where credit's due.
Yeah, no, I think they did a great job. They made one joke which I loved, which was like, so Merkel is like was part of the big like conservative party, right? Which is called CDU, Christliche Deutsche
Demokratische.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even care. Fuck those
right?
guys.
Who cares?
But Barbie made the joke that it's the cross-dresser union, and I just thought that was hilarious.
That should have been the category.
Oh, for sure.
Amazing. Yeah. So the first team, Team A, was made up of Kelly Hilton, Nikita Vegas, and Yvonne Nightstand, which this team is 3 powerhouse comedians. So I knew that this would either be magic or total insanity. And I think, you know what, it kind of fell right in between both.
Yeah, oh my God.
All 3 of them had such unique and well-developed characters. You know, Yvonne's brought a little bit of Peggy from Offenbach. Kelly was just, you know, a streetwalker for the last 50 years. And Nikita was just, I can't.
Nikita is kind of reminiscent of. She looks like a parody of Atze Schröder, who is like a German comedian. So
amazing. Yeah. I'm glad there's a reference there because yeah, she definitely. It's a look, and it's hilarious, and it's kind of gender bendy and age bendy, which I know they were all going for. But yeah, these just like kind of nasty, skanky old women. I was really entertained. I'll give the whole group a heist.
Oh yeah, for sure. The performance was amazing.
Kelly Hilton on the runway, her look this week honestly was giving more Princess Di than Angela Merkel. And, you know, she acknowledged in her confessional that it is a little strange to be walking around the runway as an old white lady, which is totally true and hilarious. And she is doing her best. But you can tell that, you know, maybe there's not quite as much enthusiasm for the theme of the runway. But I mean, I think that her performance in the video more than made up for any lack in her runway. It was highly entertaining.
Yeah, no, I didn't really dig the runway look, but I think that's like the consensus. But yeah, her performance was amazing. You can see that Kelly likes to like let loose, and like she doesn't hesitate to like
leave it all out there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to say. Yeah.
No, she definitely left it all out there in the maxi challenge. So I will give her maxi challenge a heist and her runway a shice.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Now her teammate Nikita Vegas took a different approach from most people on the runway. She served this kind of marionette look with the chains and this lime green jacket. I agree with the judges in that the look overall is really simple. I mean, from the waist down, it's nothing but a pair of shoes and some tights. The jacket isn't really anything that special, and the wig doesn't really match Merkel too closely. I do like the angle, and I like the idea, and she definitely sold it on the runway, but it wasn't mind-blowing.
Yeah, no, I agree. However, like, she did find a way to like give a clever remark about the hair, which I guess was like, I mean, props to her for like quick thinking.
Oh yeah.
The idea and the like the concept, really great. The execution, I don't like it.
But
I mean, this is amazing.
This is so hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
I feel like I know this person.
Right. Well, this exactly. It felt so familiar, and in the video challenge that made the most sense by far out of any of the groups, I thought that she just worked great. I thought she clicked well with her teammates. Definitely a high performance in the challenge, and on the runway, I'll give a net.
No, I agree. I was thinking if I want to give it a shice, but then again, her concept is great.
Yeah, compared to Kelly's, like
Yeah,
that idea gives it a little bit of a bump up.
For sure.
And the last member of Team A, Yvonne Nightstand. So she was one of several queens to wear more of a formal gown with this kind of, shoulder wrap piece. And this does look very elegant, although black doesn't read super well on the runway, and there's not a ton of ornamentation. There's obviously a lot of work put into the paint because, this is very different from a traditional glam drag look. And so I think that she did a great job with that. The wig is a little lackluster and the dress is a little lackluster, but I do see some of the characterization there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Actually, for me, she read more Merkel to me than a lot of other queens did. So I like it.
And although she didn't wear any breasts, she definitely had a lot of breast cleavage shading going on. And so I think giving a nod to that shows that you know that is frequently associated with her. And I wasn't surprised that this kind of character worked for her because we've seen her do this kind of thing, but she just makes me laugh all the time, and the judges as well. So I thought she was a really great way to round out this group. So I'll definitely give her performance a heist. I'll give her runway look a net. I do like the makeup, but I was just underwhelmed by the outfit.
Yeah, I think I am gonna agree. Her performance was amazing, but yeah, the outfit it's fine. It's net.
Yeah. Die kleine Schwester von Scheiß. All right. Team B was made up of Lorelei Rivers, Victoria Shakespears, and Meta Morkid. Love their bright colors on the runway. And in the video, once again, each of them had their own distinct character that they took really far. Whereas the first team had a pretty clear storyline where it's 3 busted old ladies who put in a shiny grill and it makes their lives better. It's ridiculous, but at least it tracks. This team and the third team were a little more chaotic in their video presentations, and they just made that much less sense. I mean, they started with a product as wonderful as a sausage water perfume. So there's a lot you can do there, but I feel like they didn't gel quite as well as a team, whereas the 3 ladies just kind of played off of each other in the first video as well as doing their own thing. Lorelei is this presenter lady who has 90% of the lines, and she does a very good job at being this presenter lady. And then there's Meta, who like comes up with the product, who also has a super unique and hilarious character that I love. She just doesn't have that many lines, and she's being interviewed by her, which kind of makes sense for like a QVC type show. And then Victoria is Britney Spears, and somehow the sausage water makes Britney Spears be not busted anymore. There is a very loose thread there, but it was a lot more mental energy on my part to make it make sense.
Yeah.
I do think Lorelei and Meta individually like gave a pretty energetic and convincing performance. I feel like I've seen this from Victoria before, so maybe I wasn't as overwhelmed by that. But as a group, I'm gonna have to give their teamwork a shice.
Yeah, no, sadly I have to agree. I really got to like Lorelei the past few episodes, and Meta is also one of my faves. So I don't want to like bash on them, but I completely agree with all the critiques that have been given on the show as well. Lorelei just took up way too much time.
Yeah.
And Victoria was just like, I mean, I would argue that she did a good job at portraying Britney, but like, why?
Yeah, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, and Meta's character was amazing, but she just had way too little screen time. So yeah.
Well, and you're right. While some of the lip sync decisions have been confusing, the judging comments have been pretty spot on from the main judges and from the guest judges. And I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
So first for Team B is Lorelei Rivers. This runway look, I was not familiar with this episode with the birds and Merkel, but I am so glad that she wore this because A, I learned a hilarious new story about Angela Merkel, and B, we got this incredibly campy celebration on the runway.
Yeah.
Glitter bird shit, big bright birds. I mean, she's like an Audubon painting. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing. I completely forgot about that picture of Merkel before this happened. So I'm so glad that you did it. I think it was very clever. Like, not only is the idea extremely clever, but I think the execution is also well done. It's not amazing, but like it's glitter bird shit. So
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely good enough for me.
yeah, for sure.
And like we said, she did take up a lot of the time in the video and didn't gel quite as well with the team. I thought she gave a great performance, but I noticed something interesting about her this episode. At first, in the reading challenge, she seemed to kind of react negatively to a lot of the comments the girls were making about her. And I get it. They were not the most imaginative reads. They were mostly about like forgetting her name or forgetting she was there, which aren't super creative. But the fact that everyone was making those jokes or multiple people made those jokes said to me that whenever the cameras aren't on, that maybe there's something that they all notice about Lorelai, that she might be super quiet. I think they've done a good job of including as many of her comments and confessionals as anybody else. So I guess to us it doesn't immediately seem like she's very shy, but it seems obvious to the other girls that she's pretty quiet and reserved. But she seems to get pretty defensive whenever people point that out. I mean, because it's so easy to just like laugh off crappy reads, if you're not being sensitive about it. But it kind of comes up later when she's talking with Lele, because they're obviously getting close, but they were trying to spin this narrative about the quiet queens and then the loud queens. And I just always hate that storyline, because if you're on Drag Race, your job is to be making entertaining TV. And so when quieter queens get mad at louder queens, it's because they're doing better on the show. They're being more entertaining. They're getting more camera time because they're doing what they're there to do. And I get that that's not always the case in real life. And I'm sure that trying to be in a more extroverted career path as an introverted person can be tough sometimes. But if you sign up to go to RuPaul's Drag Race, I'm not very sympathetic to people who complain about being too quiet. She's doing well, and she obviously has incredible ideas, but either embrace your nature as being quiet and be proud of it, or
I don't know. I get what you're saying, and you're not wrong. But also, I agree with her that I feel like it's such a like cheap way to make jokes. If like people making fun of like Eureka's size, or like if they were reading Eureka and all they did was like, haha, Eureka's fat. Okay, well,
yeah, it's like eye roll.
pisses you
Like,
off.
all right, move on. Yeah, exactly.
So like,
But like,
where's the joke? So
yeah,
I get why she gets mad about it, or like why she's like, okay, girl, like move on. But I feel like that's besides the point that you were making.
yeah. Well, because that's
I
the thing
agree
is,
with you.
the mini challenge was one thing, but seeing her insecurities play out later in the episode helped me to understand why her reaction to those reads was so negative. Whenever she could have easily just rolled her eyes and laughed it off and been like, "Wow, y'all aren't winning."
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like to come back to the main challenge, I feel like what the big issue here was that her jokes weren't even bad, but it's like because she had so much screen time. I mean, it's a team challenge, so you like what kind of want to like have everyone at the same level, and I feel like that's also part of the challenge to like make everyone equals.
yeah.
Because they were just like it was just so much of her character, we didn't get the time to like switch around the different characters or like what each different character brings to the whole. So yeah, that was kind of a miss.
Yeah. So for Lorelai's maxi challenge performance, I'll give a net, but for the runway, I'll give a very heist.
Yes, completely agree.
Heist shice. I mean, she's got the shice on her, but it is heist.
Oh, you're right. Super scheiße. Yeah, I'm just always curious as to what she's gonna bring to the runway.
Yeah.
Like so far, all of her looks were except for the first runway look, which was kind of like okay.
Yeah. And keeping the judges guessing is something that definitely makes them want to keep you around.
Yeah, for sure.
Her teammate, Victoria Shakespeare's, serving this Merkel look on the runway with the mask. I do love the shape of this blue top and how it flares. It almost looks kind of anime in this lighting on the runway. I really do like how vivid it is. It's kind of simple, with just the black pant, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
I'm not mad about it. I mean, Merkel wears very simple fashion, and I feel like she elevated in a way that looked nice. I really like you said, the shape of the blazer is amazing. So
Yeah, the bottom of the blazer is just whimsical enough
yeah.
to where that's enough. And yeah, as we said, she did look very Britney, and she definitely delivered a busted to beautiful Britney performance. It was just a little hard to understand how that really fit in with the advertisement.
Yeah. I also felt like she had the mannerisms down. She definitely, like, it wasn't a bad Britney impersonation. I was just confused as to why she did it.
Yeah. So while Victoria's Maxi Challenge performance, I'll give a shice, I will give the runway a net.
No, I will give it a highest for the runway, except something I forgot to mention. I think the mask thing was clever, but you could see that she just did it. So, like, if she had done it beforehand, I would, like, really dig it. But like this, it's a no from me. But in general, I would give the outfit a highest. I really liked the whole thing. I also didn't hate the makeup as much as the judges did, apparently. But yeah,
Yeah, I guess the makeup wasn't quite as like detailed as some of the other girls put into, all the lines and wrinkles and stuff. But it is a very different look for Victoria, and I thought that the difference was dramatic enough for me to definitely see Merkel when I look at her.
Yeah.
To round out Team B, Meta Morkid. Now, Meta had this lovely blue dress on the runway, and they did read her for not having like a breastplate or something because, those cleavage, the weapons of mass distraction were an iconic part of the Merkel legacy.
Yes, for sure. I mean,
and the shape of the wig and everything does give me Merkel vibes loosely. I mean, this is an Austrian interpretation as well.
You know who she reminds me of now? I didn't see it when I watched the episode. Do you know the what are they called in America? The two mice. They're like mouse detectives, I think. They're called the Rescuers.
Oh, the Rescuers Down Under.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And she reminds me of
the villain?
Madame Medusa. I mean,
my gosh.
Am I wrong? She does give off those vibes, no?
Oh, that is so good. Well, and this is coming off of Drag Race Down Under. Did you watch that?
No.
Because Floor is this Kiwi queen, and one of her looks is Isma from Emperor's New Groove, and she looked incredible. She looked just like her. So yeah, I love I love this comparison. It makes me so happy. And honestly, I really loved her character in the Maxi Challenge. This uber Austrian, like mountain woman who's like, kind of dirty but really cheery and wholesome at the same time. It's a really fun dichotomy.
Yeah.
And I mean, she was just smiling and bouncing and saying weird things all over the place.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's amazing. I also thought her character was pretty fun. I think it was very clever of her to also like use her natural dialect. So
see, I feel like that character could have worked really well in a different group, like in a different storyline. Like, yeah, if she had actually been able to be on a team with Pandora and maybe, one of the Swiss girls or something, they could have really done some backwoods mountain like homeopathic remedy thing.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. Yeah, I think they just tried to make their plotline a little too convoluted.
Yeah.
So for Meta, I will give. God, I'm so stuck on giving people nets. There's just so many looks that I'm not like wowed by that I don't hate.
Yeah, today was a really hit or miss.
Well, and a Merkel runway is interesting because it doesn't give you very much room to be super over the top unless you're really loose with your interpretation. And I think that that's fair for a runway challenge like this. I like the category and it's a little niche, but yeah, it's fine. So for Meta's Maxi Challenge performance, I will give a very high. And for the runway, I'll give her a net. It looked nice.
I will give her a high for both. I really liked Meta's runway as well. So, yeah.
Okay. And last but not least, Team C, made up of Tessa Testicle, Lele Cocoon, and Pandora Nox. looking very blue on the runway and looking very excited in the Maxi Challenge. This was an interesting product. They were selling an umbrella that was marketed as not see-through, but it is obviously very see-through, that hangs down all the way around you. I think it's like a privacy booth umbrella. And I think the storyline they were selling is that Pandora's like a dumb, straight dude who every once in a while just has to jerk off so bad that he just needs to do it in public somewhere, and that this is the place to do it, which kind of makes sense. It's about as confusing as the last groups in its presentation, though. We've got, kind of a sales lady who is a very enthusiastic role played by Lele, and then Tessa. Well, Tessa and Lele both are kind of selling it, and Pandora is demonstrating the use of the product, but therefore Pandora doesn't get very many lines. And I feel like Lele and Tessa both have a lot, but it was definitely just a little lackluster.
When they introduced it, they were like, I think, saying something like it's like a privacy umbrella or like a safe space umbrella. So I felt like it was like more of a, I walk around it when it's raining and people don't just enter my space. Exactly. So I felt like it was kind of clever to like twist it around. But the whole thing was just so weird. What I did like is something that they did that the other teams didn't really do as much, at least, was like they had like a slogan and they used it a lot, and they brought it up a lot. But I felt like Lele's character was fine, Tessa's character was fine. I don't understand why they both had to be like presenters, and Pandora's character was just like there.
Well, and the first team did have their slogan that they used over and over, kind of like a Club 96.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
which was pretty good. But I do agree that they did a good job of that. And like you said, Lele and Tessa served kind of similar characters, but they definitely had their own twist on them, and they were interesting characters. But kind of like in the Rusical, having an interesting character might not be enough to stand out to save you from the bottom if everybody is standing out. And we know that there are a lot of standouts in this cast. So really, as much effort is needed in each of these challenges. So Tessa Testicle, our survivor from last week's lip sync, is back. This runway of hers is an interesting take on Merkel. She's definitely giving like the kind of old lady face, very grumpy. And she reveals to this rainbow on the inside of the jacket. But the outfit is very simple. And she does admit that those leggings are the same leggings that she wore in the Maxi Challenge.
But she lied to Johnny, which is a big no-no.
Well, she didn't lie to the confession camera. She didn't lie to me. So
okay, but I don't care about that. I care about Johnny.
Yeah, no, I do. He needs to be protected at all costs.
Yes.
But yeah, this was less than whelming.
It's not even underwhelming. It's just,
and even the makeup doesn't seem to be nearly as detailed as any of the other girls, and the wig is kind of a flop.
The wig is messy. The makeup is, I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
I don't like the leggings. It's fine to like want to try to make a political statement. It just didn't hit, and like she also does not seem confident about this outfit at all.
Yeah, that's been interesting to watch about her the last couple episodes, because even on the last runway, it was an interesting idea that touched on an interesting subject, but it didn't go far enough to really say anything about it. This is kind of the same. It's like acknowledging that there's an issue with Angela Merkel and the queer community, but not really taking it anywhere. And just like in the lip sync last week, just like in the lip sync this week, she does seem to be a weird combination of barely caring, but also putting forth a lot of effort to actually perform. And it is kind of disorienting, because you're like, does she care? Does she really want to be there? Is it just the edit? And then she'll like pull out a big performance. But like we said, the character that she gave in the video was an interesting characterization with good energy. It didn't super stand out, but it wasn't bad. I'll give her performance in the video a net and the runway a shice.
I'll give her performance a very generous net.
How gracious of you.
I know. And her outfit is definitely a shice.
Lele Cocoon on the runway was giving a kind of 2-in-1 look, starting off as the tourist Angela Merkel, hidden behind a big map, at which she revealed another one of these kind of formal dresses with the black and the deep blue. But I did think that this look was giving very Mutti vibes. I mean, the makeup has a lot of effort into the aging. And yeah, she's got the cleavage and the dress and the pearls. And I think it's a good characterization.
I would say my biggest flaw, or like the biggest flaw that I see, is that it doesn't really necessarily read Angie to me. It's a nice look, and once you know, like with the dress and stuff, like okay, I get it. She looks like an older white lady, so yeah, I get it. But
yeah, there were several girls that wore this kind of wig that was like more red than blonde and more short than any kind, that comes around and like I don't know. The wigs did seem to be kind of half-assed from some of the girls.
I was expecting a lot more. I was so hyped about the runway when they announced it because, like, I mean, Angie is
well, and hair is such an easy thing to exaggerate. It's like you get a similar shape and then just like pump it up, and I feel like there was a little bit of a missed opportunity for a lot of them.
Not just the hair, but also like the mannerisms, like how she like always like does this.
Right, they really harped on the hand position a lot.
I mean, I understand that they like kind of want to stand out and like not like they don't all want to do the same thing, but basically nobody did it, and I was like, that's a choice.
Yeah. Like Tessa's performance, I liked her in the Maxi Challenge. I thought that she delivered, a well-formed character and it had high energy and whatnot, but it just didn't stand out enough, I guess.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have had her in the bottom, but then again, other than Tessa, I really didn't know who was going to be in the bottom. And since it was an episode where the judging was kind of wonky, you kind of know to expect the unexpected when it comes to judging because, all the rules kind of go out the window.
I was just really glad that they didn't put Lorelai and Lele in the bottom together, because I always hated when they do like the storyline of, oh my god, these two queens are best friends, and then they're gonna end up in the bottom against each other, and then they're gonna have to lip sync against each other.
Yeah, no, that's always a little bit overdone. Okay, so for her Maxi Challenge performance, I will give a heis, and for the runway, I'll give a net.
I will give a net for both.
Fair. I thought about doing that. I'm feeling generous. Look at me giving out heises.
Oh my god, we're so generous today.
Well, I feel like watching that, like, I felt like I would have acted like her. She had like an energetic and kooky like presenter role, and I was like, that's probably how I would have approached it.
Yeah.
But whatever. And last but not least, out of everyone, Pandora Knox. So
with the iconic hand pose.
Right. She's got the hand pose down. She definitely put a lot more effort into her like movement. Like we said, a lot of the other girls didn't really. And she didn't do many specific mannerisms.
She's not even German.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I mean, sometimes it takes someone from a little bit farther away, maybe from next door, to provide this kind of perspective. But, I thought that the makeup was incredibly detailed. She had the whole gait with it, and she had the reveal, which just takes it to a totally absurd place. Which made me really happy because besides Lorelai, which was a non-fiction ridiculous scenario, this is the only like completely fictional, over-the-top ridiculous portrayal, and it totally works. This German bikini look is just so slutty and unexpected when she comes down in that classic Merkel pantsuit. But I really had to give her a round of applause for this presentation.
It was amazing. Top to bottom, there's nothing I can like talk about this.
Yeah,
like all the way she walked in her voiceover. She also explains how she like kind of wants to portray her, because you could definitely see that's Merkel, but it's a caricature of Merkel, and I think she did an amazing job. You could already see the breasts bouncing around under the suit when she was walking. It's amazing.
Well, and I think that's why I've been so unwilling to give many heises in this runway look, even though it is, a very serious female politician. There are so many ways to make even the most serious of characters a caricature, and Pandora did that the best, of taking it, making it a caricature, making it totally ridiculous, but still recognizable. And that takes a lot of skill. So I really enjoyed that from her. Like her teammates, she gave a very energetic performance. I think the biggest hindrance for her success in the Maxi Challenge was that she didn't have very many lines. And so her character didn't get very much explanation or development or any kind of investment.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It felt kind of off. She was just there to jerk off in the park.
Right. So yeah, for her Maxi Challenge performance, I will give a shice, but the runway is heis.
Completely agree. Yeah.
Super heis.
Super heis. Yeah.
These Maxi Challenge videos were pretty different, as well as the runway looks. You know, several people kind of did a couple of looks, and then there were a couple of real standouts that definitely did something different. And the judges were obviously having a hard time scoring this, because when the people that do the best in the Maxi Challenge end up looking the worst on the runway, and the ones that look incredible on the runway were shit in the challenge, like how do you judge that fairly? Because there's no set scoring rubric, at least that we know about. And so I thought that the way that they tackled it was really smart. They just gave a winner for the Maxi Challenge and gave a winner for the runway. And since I think spreading the love around is a great idea, and I think that avoiding any perceptions of impropriety or shenanigans by production, it's like, no, somebody was the best in this and somebody was the best in that. And I think it was totally fair to give the Maxi Challenge win to Nikita Vegas, who was shocked. But definitely,
she
definitely
looks so
deserving.
Cool. She's like, what, me?
And the runway winner, as I said, Pandora definitely went the farthest in her characterization and caricaturization of Merkel, and I thought it was to great effect.
Oh, I agree. They both deserve to win.
Yeah, absolutely.
The parts they won.
Now, the bottom three ends up being Lorelai, Tessa, and Lele, which this is tough because Lorelai had an incredible runway look, and Tessa and Lele both gave fine performances and looked okay on the runway, but you got to choose someone, and the bottom two end up being Tessa and Lele. Which I guess, coming off of last week, you can understand Tessa being in the bottom, but I really didn't see Lele being in the bottom. I hate it for her because, it's kind of like she did nothing wrong. Her runway was imaginative and her video challenge was charismatic. I really kind of felt for them. I didn't know what to expect from Lele. Tessa kind of took a note out of Naomi's book from last week and had a wig reveal and, lots of shenanigans and moves all around the stage from the back to the front. Lele's boobs just kind of kept coming out more and more as the lip sync went on, which was fun to watch. But she also gave a really fun performance. Never seen her throw herself around like that, but I thought that was really entertaining.
My issue with the lip sync is I think they both did great. I feel like Tessa's outfit just gave way more opportunity to do an energetic lip sync than Lele's did, obviously. And I feel like that's something that's regarded very highly when they're judging the lip syncs. It's just how much energy you put into it, which is fair. But also, this is the third time we've seen Tessa perform and lip sync
in 4 episodes.
She didn't do anything we haven't seen before. And for me, if I was mean, I would be saying that she deliberately put that outfit and also that explains the shitty wig on the runway, because she had a wig underneath it to do a reveal because she was so sure she was going to be in the bottom. I personally feel like Lele did great with what she was given. Her performance was great for the outfit that she wore and the character that she was portraying. And yes, at the end of the episode, they should be judged on the lip sync because, that's kind of how the whole show works. I just feel like if it's your third time in the bottom and you've been constantly underperforming, then you shouldn't be winning a lip sync that you were kind of better prepared for, which is also something that I guess you could say, that's a good thing, but...
Right, because they know what lip sync song they're going to be performing that day. I think they're maybe told the day before or something, but they have a little bit of notice. And so, I think it definitely could have factored into her runway look, knowing that she might have to lip sync again. And I can see Lele not having planned for that because she didn't anticipate being in the lip sync, which I also totally understand. It's just confusing after watching an episode where Tessa seems kind of disconnected and unenthusiastic about the challenge to then go through the effort of pulling out such a high energetic performance, enough to make the judges keep you. And obviously the judges are not stupid. They know, and they tell her afterwards, like, we're saving you, but you really need to step it up. Like they know that there's something there, but as much as I want to complain when I don't understand judges' decisions, it's just a TV show, and I'm not there. I'm not seeing what's going on in the room. I'm not feeling the energy in the room. I am seeing a cut of it that was edited by other people after the fact. And that doesn't make it all make sense. But like I said last week, all of these eliminations are going to be hard. We're not going to want to see any of the girls go. It's not always going to make sense, but we're here to just enjoy the art of drag for a few weeks. And I don't have the energy in me to get very upset about these things anymore. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, maybe that is just you, because I'm very upset.
And you have every right to be. You have every right to be.
I was very upset when Barbie had to go. I was very upset when Naomi had to go.
But that's great. Like, I mean, these things are supposed to elicit emotional responses from us. It shows that we are connected to the queens, and I do hate to see any of them go. I don't know. I just enjoy the show so much.
Same. I'm not a big fan of like storylines of queens where they're like constantly underperforming during the challenges and on the runway, and all they do well, and they do it well, is perform in the lip sync, and then they just stay for like 5 lip syncs, so you can always like see them lip sync and like have people get mad about them like staying.
Well, and that's why, I mean, at the end of the day, those contestants usually end up going home, because you can't just take the lip sync in front of you into account when you're making these decisions. Like, the other things in the competition inevitably, just as a human being, psychologically are going to affect your decision making when you're judging that. Like, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. And unfortunately for this vacuum, Tessa ended up staying and Lele Cocoon has to sashay away, which is really sad. I did not see that coming. I really love our Karen of Karens, and I know that she probably had some really bonkers runway looks coming up, and I am definitely going to keep my eye on her Instagram, because I think that she is a very interesting queen, that I love seeing looks come from her, and I hope that she posts all the looks that she would have done for these remaining runways, because I bet there's some really entertaining stuff.
Yeah, same. She definitely had some of the most interesting looks on the show. I felt like even though she wasn't like super bubbly, she was very entertaining to watch still. And yeah.
Well, I'm glad that Frankfurt got some representation. But I wish nothing but the best for her. I hope all these girls get to come back before the end of the season for a reunion or the finale or something, because I mean, they're all there in Colombia. There are a bunch of Germans in Colombia. Just like, I can understand why there's a lot of emotions in the room, just because they're all each other's got in this foreign country, Anyway, I guess we will just have to hold on to our seats until next week, when we find out the next challenge that our girls will face on Drag Race Germany. So thank you so much for joining us today for our recap of episode 4 of Drag Race Germany Season 1. Thomas, always a pleasure having you.
Always a pleasure being here.
And you can have me anytime you want.
That's a lie. You're like, I don't know, on the other side of the planet, but yes, thank you.
Oh my gosh, let's not air our dirty laundry in front of everyone.
I will expose you for who you are.
Oh gosh, I better end this before it gets bad for my reputation. Well, y'all enjoy your next week, and we will be back here next week with episode 5 of Drag Race Germany Season 1. See y'all then. Cheers.
Bye.